All right. So we're going to start with introduction to security, and after introduction to security, we'll go through we'll go to security life cycle, and then we'll go for lunch. After lunch, we are going to do network hardening, right? And then after the class, we will do our lab. If we're going to have time, we might do it together. If not, you'll have to do it in your groups or individually. So, guys, what is security? My definition of security is security refers to the protection of systems, networks, and data from unauthorized access, damage, or attacks. All right. What do you understand by security? What do you understand by security when you say that your phone is secure, your email is secure? What exactly do you mean? And what are the things that you do to ensure that your systems are secure?
For me, security basically means safety. Something being safe and data being safe.
All
Uh,
right.
and on top of that, I do think security is more of privacy, as in privatization of information, unless you want to dispose, to expose it to the public or to people.
All right. That's nice. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for your thoughts. Anyone else? How do you make your system secure? How do you make your data secure? How do you even ensure your own personal security? Anyone else? All right. It's okay. Let's just proceed. Felix, you are saying it's not allowing unauthorized access, all right, to your systems and to your data, all right. Anyone else? All right. So, yes, security is ensuring that all your systems, all your data, your networks, they are safe from being accessed by unauthorized people, and they are free from damage. So no one can destroy your data, no one can delete your data, no one can edit your data or even, tamper with your networks, and also hiding it from attacks. And security ensures that your resources are confidential, so no one else apart from authorized people can access it. Accurate, the data or resources cannot be tampered with, cannot be deleted, cannot be edited, and always available. So whenever you need it, whenever the authorized people need it, it is there, right? And that's why security is important. And in security, we have the CIA, right? The CIA triad. In your own terms, what do you CIA stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So, in your own terms, what do you think about confidentiality? What is confidentiality to you? When you say that this data is confidential, what do you mean? Guys, let's discuss. Today, you're a tough crowd. Are you people asleep? Well, today you're not talking to me. It's okay. It's okay. So, confidentiality means that you ensure that your information is accessible only to the authorized people. So, the people that actually have the access to your data are only the ones who are authorized. And you said authorized. What guys? I remember Patrick teaching us the difference between authentication and authorization. Somebody remind us, what is the difference between authentication and authorization? You can just unmute and let me know.
I think Pat used the analogy of a house and a room.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, 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 we can hear you, Mark.
Yes, yes, yes. So I was saying Pat when he was describing authorization and authentication, he used the analogy of a house and a room. So he said that you can have access to the house, yes, but inside the house there are rooms, and you can't have and there are some rooms which you are allowed to access, and in order to access them you need some. So basically accessing the main house is authentication, and getting into the rooms you need authorization.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes, and he told us that you might get that people authorized to enter in your bedroom is just maybe you and your wife, or you and your husband, or even just some babies are also authorized to enter in your bedroom. Others are not authorized, right? Why are you laughing? Right? So, authorization is you can access this room. You do not have husbands and wife. Yeah? It's okay. So in the future, mkianza kupikiwa mtakuwa nao, right? If you're authorized, it means that you actually have the access. You can be able to. Let me see what Mohammed has said. Yes, Mohammed has told us authentication is who can come in, and authorization is who can do what. All right. Yes. So if you're authorized to access this data, it means that you have the permission and you can see it, you can read your information, you can, all that. If you're not authorized, you remember the way we share the documents. For example, like if I say I'll share this document with you, what I'll do, I'll just share it as you people, you'll only be authorized to view it, but not authorized to edit it, right? You cannot be able to edit. So, yes, thank you, Mohammed, for that. Also, thank you for Mark for your comment. We appreciate. Thank you for reminding us, right? So, confidentiality is ensuring that information is only accessible to the people who are authorized to to access it. Integrity, it means that all the time data is accurate and it has not been tampered with. So yes, and remember there was a time that we were learning about checksum, remember, during Linux? And we said that checksum lets you see if files have been tampered with, if something has been changed. And actually, you might in the future when you're doing, I don't know if you did it in your labs, there's a lab where you'll have to check the checksum of a document, especially say like a configuration document. And when you're Mark, you can hide your video. Yeah. So in the future, when you're doing that lab, you're going to check the checksum of maybe a configuration file. And Anytime that you change or anyone changes the configuration file or this file, the checksum alerts you, and there's even sometimes using a few of the resources we have in AWS, it can even delete or even rename that document, so that you get to know that this document has been edited, it has been tampered with. All right. So integrity is ensuring that the resources have not been tampered with. All right. And availability, it is ensuring that whenever this data is needed, it is 100% accessible to the authorized users. All right. So that's the CIA triad that we have in security, and that's the definition. So there are a few key terms that you have in security. Number one, we have an attacker. And an attacker is someone who looks at the weakness of your system and exploits it. All right. For example, some let's say that someone realizes that in the permissions I have for this document, I unfortunately gave you guys the right to as editors and not viewers. So when someone realizes that they can do more than just viewing, you can find someone deleting data or adding more content. That person is an attacker because they are not supposed to be doing that, but they realized that weakness and they exploited it. Then we have vulnerability. Vulnerability is a weakness in the system that can be used. So remember that an attacker is looking for this vulnerability in your system. If an attacker comes and realizes that you have weak passwords on your email, if you've watched a few of the speeches from Brett Kameli, you might remember that he uses simple things as your email to get more information about you. So imagine if you use one password for all your accounts, even for Google, for whatever, that person can actually use your weakness of using one single password or an easy password to exploit you. That one is a threat. So threat is the actual event of an attack, all right? The actual event of a negative impact on the system. And then we have breach. So breach is all right, threat is an event or an action, and breach is the successful attack of a compromised system. Then we have control or countermeasure. So once you realize that your system is weak, you can be attacked. There are few threats here and there. What you can do, you can control your security. So what can you do? Number one, so control means you eliminate the vulnerability. So maybe you can use a stronger password, or you can use multi-factor authentication. Remember, someone was saying three-factor authentication. All right, so you can use MFA, you can use Google Authenticator, So coming up with measures on how you can eliminate the vulnerability and ensure that your security is strong. So can I get somebody to read for me why security is important? Sandra, would you be kind enough to read for us why security is important?
Um, okay. Security is essential because it protects personal and organizational data from theft or misuse. It maintains trust with customers, users, and partners. It prevents financial loss, identity theft, damage reputation. It ensures systems remain operational and available. It helps meet legal and compliance requirements.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So yes, security is very, very important, especially in this day and age where all our data is in the internet. People are going to talk to GPT as their emotional bodies, you know. So, yes, security is very, very important. Thank you, Sandra. I appreciate. All right, next we have malware. Who can tell me what malware is? What do you understand by the term malware?
With them unwanted plans in the computer in the system.
Unwanted? Come again, Leonard?
I wanted to use the analogy of it's to our system, unwanted plans. Yeah, yeah. They
All
are like
right.
uh, the rules in short. So like unwanted components of that are going to be harmful to the system or a computer. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Leonard. Yes, so malware is actually a software. Malware is a software that is designed to disrupt, damage, or gain unauthorized access on your system. So remember when we were learning, or especially for these people who got to start with computers back in the age, back then when we had the desktops, which had the desktop computers with the big backs, and we had ads running around. For example, like if you were in this meeting, we'd have a lot of pop-up ads of Celine is right next to your neighborhood, or pop-ups of buy a car at $3, you know. And these things, they were just designed, and people used those ads to actually hide malware so that they can access your computers. So we have types of malwares that we've actually encountered, and one is a virus. A virus, think of a virus as, say, something like HIV. It is a malicious program, and it attaches itself into files, corrupts and deletes, and even spreads to other systems. So you see the way, for example, like we have a HIV virus, when it comes to your body, it might look normal, you won't even know, but then it starts attacking your normal cells and rendering you your immunity weak, you know. So it's the same thing as we have viruses on computers, especially for, sorry, people with Windows OS. It's very, very common for you guys to get viruses. I don't know why, but for Linux OS, it's one of the most secure OSs. I've actually never encountered a virus on my Linux. So they come and pretend you can they come and pretend that they are part of your files, and then they start eating your files. Remember when we were using flash disks, and maybe one of the flash disks has a virus. The moment you put it onto your USB port, it goes and eats your files, and you get your files, they are unreadable. Kabisa, and your data is not there. So yeah, so that's a virus. Next we have a spyware. So a spyware is a software that will collect your information secretly, and it will send it to an attacker. So for those who have watched enough movies on tech, for example, a country wants to invade another country. Say, let's give an example of Russia and or even China, and there's this very known spyware that was embedded by the Chinese onto Ethiopian parliament, where the Chinese had a spyware that was collecting information on what the parliament discusses, and the Chinese in their country were getting to know their plans, their, all those things. So a spyware will collect all your data and give it to the attacker. Then we have worms. Yes, thank you, Reg. Exactly. So we have worms. A worm is a self-replicating program that spreads through networks, consuming bandwidth. Consuming bandwidth. I agree, Salome. I actually love Chinese more than Americans, by the way. Consuming bandwidth and system resources. So, especially for people who actually, if you if you've deleted something, if you've downloaded something and you get maybe a system, your machine is slow, it's slow, and you do not know why your machine is slow, although you maybe you're using Edge only or Ni hao. Maybe you're using Edge only or you're using just one resource, maybe one application. Shishi Salim. So maybe you're using one application like Microsoft Word, and then you realize that your machine cannot even control C, control V, and you check task manager, your is it called task manager? The control alt delete. Yes, I think it's called task manager. Check your task manager and you see resources are running. Your if it attacks the network, your bandwidth is so slow. If you run your test, unaona your network test is like 0 Mbps or 1 Mbps, and yet you've paid for maybe 30 Mbps per second. So worms, they'll come and consume your bandwidth and your resources. They are going to, I can't even imagine having worms in. And you guys, talking of worms, we are in October, the last third of we're on the last 3 months of the year. A kind reminder, kindly deworm. Worms in the body are also very bad. They can make you be sluggish, just like what we have in computers. They'll make you feel sluggish, feel slow, feel tired. You're not feeling like eating. They're feeding on your blood, dizziness, can even cause anemia and all that. So it's kindly deworm as you're deworming your machines. Um, so Mark is saying an expose has been done by BBC showing that the Chinese have advanced their tactics from using malware to sending women to marry tech guys in order to spy. Interesting. They actually spy on people using birds. Yeah, they're going to. I actually have a feeling that the Chinese, or even just the East, are going to overcome the West. And now there'll be no longer westernization, it will be easternization. Gideon, why did they say Nakuru is a warm? Justin, I agree. Silicon Valley is in danger. Tech bros. Imagine tukitumia Salem, Kadem Kasupu. Amemaliza Salem. So tech bros, kindly be safe. Be safe out there. Hey, Mark. Mark, do you have any important information that they might need? Be valuable, and then they're going to send you one. All right. So next we have Trojan, remote access Trojan. Who knows the story of Trojan horse? Where the name Trojan horse came from? Yes, Justin, the story of Troy. And me to tell us the Trojan horse story from Troy. Yeah. All right. All right. It's okay. It's okay. Anyone who can tell us the story of Trojan horse. So, because today ladies don't even want to talk to us. People, you and me to tell us something. So Trojan horse, these people wanted to defeat. So let me give Mark amesema atakunywa uji. All right, Basil, kindly tell us.
So the Trojan horse, basically the city of Troy, I believe had an issue. I believe that it was one of the Greek warring states. So the plan was for them to be I think there was an invader. I don't remember the story that well, but basically, the invader came up with a plan after fighting outside. They came up with a plan of sending out a man-made horse that looked like a real horse, but it's man-made, like wood and all of that. And so the city of Troy basically had that notion that it was a gift. They let it go through, but the soldiers were inside, and during the night, they attacked them and opened the gates. That is the story.
Exactly. Thank you, Basil. Thank you, Basil. So, and even in computing, that's exactly what attackers do. So, what they do, they 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 pretend that something is good for you. So imagine something like someone sends you an email. Maybe you've been looking for a job. They send you an email, and they tell you click this link to maybe go and apply, or to go and do your interview or something, and you click, and unfortunately that's where now things start going downhill. Downloads itself, does something, accesses your machine and everything. So yes, that's what Trojan horses are. Now we have remote access Trojan. It is a tool that allows attackers to take control of your computer remotely. Um, Remember when there's this guy who people actually want to want to vote for to be the CS of the CS of, is it CS of IT or CS of computing or something? What is it? What do they call it? The CS of, is it, I don't know, information technology or something? Yes, thank you, Rage. Exactly. And you won't even know. So this guy, he's the one who hacked, was it an organization or the government? And he had 7 shillings on his M-Pesa, and in an instance, he had stolen. So he logged into an organization as someone, and maybe as an admin or something, I don't know, and pretended to be that someone, and withdrew their money, 11 million. So someone woke up with 7 shillings today on the M-Pesa, na kilala kona 11 million. So they just take control of your machine. You won't even know. You might not even know. All right. So Trojan. And then we have DDoS. DDoS is really, really bad, especially for organizations that have systems running, especially, say you have, you remember, guys, we had an e-commerce site that we started with, right? So imagine that we have our e-commerce site, sales are going, da-da-da-da, we're getting our shillings, we are delivering, and unfortunately, someone actually attacks us with a DDoS attack. And DDoS means that it's so, an attack uses many computers to flood your target traffic, making it unavailable to users. For example, like what happened to the when there was this football Ukukasaradi. Yeah, yes. Or even what the anonymous Sudanese did to a citizen. Yes. So you want to access this site, but some people have actually sent so many requests that even the resource itself, that the site, the application, this resource that you want to use, it's unusable because there's so many computers, let me just say computers that are, or bots that are taking control of your resource, and you can't even access it. So for example, like you want to buy tickets for CAF, and for or even whatever football. So you're going to English Premier League, and yes, bots. You want to buy a ticket, and the site is attacked with bots, and you cannot use it. You cannot even buy a ticket because it's so slow. It has been attacked with bots, and you cannot even buy a ticket. You cannot do anything. It's so slow. It's unusable. Yes, thank you for reminding us about that attack by the Sudanese, by the way. And imagine these are government, a citizen, it's a government resource. So imagine the how easy it is to even attack an entire government. All right. And then We have common security threats that target people or communication systems along with the CIA attributes. Let's check on them. They are just three. So one, there is man in the middle attack. Right. Oh, wait, before I leave DDoS, AWS has a service that protects against DDoS. Who knows the service? We mentioned it a bit earlier when we were starting. Who knows of the service that AWS uses to protect against DDoS? It's called, and this is actually, you might find it in your exam. It's called AWS Shield. All right, it's called AWS Shield. So AWS knows that it is quite possible to get DDoS attacks. So it gave us a dedicated service to help us fight against Shield, against DDoS, and it is called AWS Shield. All right. So let's go to man in the middle attack, and we see the CIA attribute being affected. So man in the middle attack is, do you guys remember I told you back in the day when we had a game where we will take say like kasuku, yogurt, even just any tin, and you tie a string on the other end, have a tin, and one person talks and the other person is listening. So imagine if someone cut the string hapo katikati and had his own tin for listening and talking. He listens to the speaker, changes words, and then displays wrong information to the listener. So that is exactly what man in the middle attack does. So you find that the attacker, it will intercept communication between parties. So they might take packets as they're being delivered, changes one, two, three, or even just reads, and then passes on to the listener. And this affects confidentiality and integrity of the information. Next, we have phishing. This is quite common. So this like the one I was telling you about, or even the one that you just sent us. See someone pretends to be like a legitimate organization, sends you a fake email, and or even a fake link like the one we've seen for Microsoft. You know, they're using like the Latin letters to confuse you, right? There's even one for Google that uses Latin Google O, one letter, just one letter of the Google, and it's a Latin letter. You can't even differentiate it from the original Google name. So sends you a link or an email, and when you open it, they get access to your information. They trick you. You get your password. Something of the sort. And this one, it affects confidentiality. Then we have social engineering. I'm going to give you my example of social engineering, and then you're going to give me one that you have either for man in the middle or phishing, or for social engineering. So for social engineering, you see the way we have, let me use an example of Equity. So maybe you bank with Equity Bank, and you have your mobile banking there, and someone sends you a message from a number, or let me just use Safaricom for M-Pesa. So imagine someone uses, so the number for Safaricom is 072, and then all the zeros up to the 10th one. Someone now uses a different number and tells you that, hi, I am Joy from Safaricom. We have realized that your M-Pesa account is insecure. You have not changed your M-Pesa PIN for the last 3 months. Kindly use this chance to change your M-Pesa PIN to ensure that your account is secure. And then you fall for it, and then you change your PIN. This person is going to get your PIN and is going to steal your money. So the people, actually people say watu wa kamiti ndio hufanya hivyo, people from committee they do that, right? So these are type of social engineering. They're going to pretend that they're legit people, say from M-Pesa, from Equity, from any bank, and all they want is to get your personal data. All right. All right. Rich, unmute tuambie your story yote. I might not be able to read. Kevin, what's up when someone calls you asking for code to get you out of your WhatsApp? Yeah. All right. I didn't know about WhatsApp, Kevin. I didn't know people hack WhatsApp. Interesting. I've noticed ukiongelesha good English, they sort of end the call. Really? All right. So people call you from WhatsApp. I had no idea. And also, I don't know you guys if you've seen, there's this one also, a type of social engineering where nowadays they don't even send you messages or what. No, no, no. Nowadays they just send you an M-Pesa prompt. Enter your PIN. So if you don't know, if you've not read and you're just used to, you're just used to using SDKs, you might not even know when you're being stolen for. Rich, explain to us what is this whole story about? Unmute to tell us what Cassandra has done. Who is Cassandra? The Cassandra I know is a DB. What has Cassandra done? Unmute to tell us. Kindly, if you've joined as an iPhone, we appreciate you are magnificent. But rename, kindly rename yourself. Rage, who is Cassandra?
This one was a guy who was actually uh, someone called him and told them that they were working with United Nations. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so and like she was from Australia kind of thing. So the guy was in that mood. Come on, I feel like nimeangukia. So the guy started talking with the lady and they started talking kujuana. So the lady told her that they were going to meet in Nairobi and do something, that the lady was still in somewhere in Bomet and was finishing up on some things with UNEP, and then after that they were going to meet. So the guy got to know the lady, but through phone, that is. So um huyo the guy akajitayarisha and then was really prepared to and meet the lady, and like you're meeting someone, you're meeting a white person, so like that kind of, the whites wako na pesa so the guy was really excited. So in the middle of it all, the guy gets a call and the lady tells her that nimeshikwa at a specific place by these Maasai guys, and they're threatening to kill me unless you send me 28K. So the guy even the lady even gave someone, and that person spoke Maasai to the guy and told them that tuma 28K right now or we kill this lady. So the guy akatuma 28K because the lady told her that once I reach Nairobi, I'm going to refund you because I don't have anything on my account. So the guy sent the 28,000, and that was the end of it all. The guy never got any call back from that.
Damn, people are nasty. Wow, sad, 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 surely sad. I thought it's just Nigerians who have that. Um, hmm. Yes, Mohammed Bashir, actually, so true. I don't know, you guys, if you've had this text where it tells you, hi, from today, from this month, we'll be collecting rent through this M-Pesa till number or pay bill. Ensure that you pay your rent by first or by fifth, you know? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Justin, and it's bad. Imagine someone who doesn't even know their agent or they don't live with their caretaker. Yeah. Benson nawatumia prompt ya mpesa mweke pin lakini mna cancel. Nataka nilale njaa, lala njaa tu kidogo. Tulisema prompt isipite hata 30 bob. Right? So thank you for it. Actually, I've had those stories, Sana, and it's quite sad that people still fall for them. It's so sad. And thank you guys for your example as well. All right, let's go to security strategy, right? Right, what is security strategy? There's this photo, you're going to see it on your notes, that says, hii ndio hiyo tumesema watu wana pretend ni watu legit, hiyo ya social engineering. That Mohammed is social engineering. Wengine wanauza vitu kwa Facebook. It's sad stuff. Kwanza sahi with the age of social media, one that I know of that is really, really sad, it's where people target, these Gen Alphas and the very, very young Gen Zs. They love being on TikTok, Instagram, and you find a 35-year-old dude stalking a child, befriending them, telling them that, hi, I'm 17, knowing that the girl could be around 15, Yeah, it's bad stuff, bad stuff. So we should all know how to protect ourselves and our loved ones as well. Right, so let's go to security strategy. Here, cyber attack kuliko kuibwa physically. Really? Someone sold sufuria ugali for almost $1,000. And then I saw another one where mtu ameweka image ya bag, anauza huko Amazon. I don't know if it's Amazon or eBay. Ameweka a very cute bag anauza, but now chini ya bag there are very small words written JPG or PNG on downloadable. So people bought the bag for around 11K, 12K, knowing that the bag, it's a physical bag, but unfortunately they were just getting a downloadable PNG. And the guy made millions, by the way. All right, so let's go to security strategy. And in security strategy, we have what defines security strategy. We have security controls plus the security life cycle. And let's see, we're going to read this upper chini. What is security strategy and why is it important? A security strategy, it helps prevent threats and before they cause harm and eliminate vulnerabilities in the systems and processes. It helps you recover quickly in case there is a security breach. So remember, guys, when there were issues with like the Dusit attack or Westgate, and the government said that in every organization there must be a watchman and there must be this thing that checks if you carry bomb or metal stuff, especially in malls. So these are type of the security strategies we're saying. These are things that are going to help your organization to prevent threats before they happen, to eliminate any vulnerability, and to help you recover quickly. And the main parts of a security strategy, number one, first is what security measures to implement. And these are the actions, the tools or techniques you can use to protect your systems and they're called security control. So the security control, they are going to tell you what can you do, what can you use to protect yourself, to protect your data, to protect your resources. For example, we have firewalls, encryption, antivirus, access control lists. Remember that you guys mesoma about security groups and knuckles. Yeah, these are type of security controls because they're going to let you define who is authorized to access this, who is not authorized to access this. All right. So what action can you do to prevent an attack? And then we have the security life cycle. The security life cycle is when to implement the security measures, and it describes when to apply tests, updates, reviews, security control. One I'd give you an example of is, for example, like running drills, like the fire drill, security drill, something of the sort. Knowing where, it will help you to know where there's a vulnerability, where there's maybe reduced security measures, and having the security life cycle is going to tell you when to do what. So for example, it will tell you when to have your updates. It will tell you what if you're doing for example like updates, what time should you be doing the updates, what time should you be, if it's monitoring and logging, if you're monitoring, at what specific time or place are you monitoring, what are you logging, where is your data going, yeah. So that's what you call security strategy. It's security control, knowing what to do to prevent a threat from or an attack from happening, and a security life cycle where you have everything in place, so you know you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do this to ensure that your entire system is secure. Can I get someone to read this for me? The summary. Naboth, you're so quiet. Kindly read this for me today. Is Naboth in class? All right. Anyone kindly read this for me?
In summary, a security strategy ensures that an organization knows what to protect, understands how to protect it, and plans when and how often to review and improve security.
Thank you, Basil. Very nice. Thank you so much. Perfect. So let's move on ahead. You guys remember that you learned about the shared responsibility model, and I promised you that you're going to get too many questions from this. I got, I think, around 7 from shared responsibility back in the day. So, and we said that shared responsibility, it lets us know the responsibility of AWS when it comes to security, and it also lets us know the customer's responsibility when it comes to security. And we said that AWS is responsible for security of the cloud, and excuse me, and the customers are responsible for security in the cloud. So when you think of if you're talking about security of the cloud, for the responsibility of AWS, we are talking about ensuring that the data centers are safe, ensuring that the network infrastructure is safe, ensuring that virtualization infrastructure is safe. And for example, like for data centers, ensuring that there are locks and padlocks, those people who work in data centers are authorized. For example, they have their, if they're using RFID cards to access the buildings. There are security guards, 24/7 CCTV. Yes, that's how they're protecting their data centers, ensuring that even the physical hardware does not get lost. For example, now when it comes to networking, ensuring that the routers, the switches, the servers themselves, they're secure. Ensuring that the cables have not been eaten by rats, that they are organized, they're not tangling. And then when it comes to virtualization infrastructure, ensuring that no one can access what the customer, for example, if you set up your security for your instances, there are people who prefer having their instances, there are types of instances that you're going to learn about, and there are some types of instances called dedicated servers. So dedicated servers, it means that you're going to AWS and you're telling them to give you this server to be yours alone for the whole year or for the next 3 years, and you want that dedicated server. So AWS should ensure that your server is safe, all right, and prevent unauthorized access. When it comes to now shared responsibility for the customer, you as the customer, whatever we said, that when it comes to the cloud, you as a customer, you're responsible for security in the cloud. It means that whatever resources that you are provisioning and whatever data that you're putting in those resources, that's your work. That's your work to protect them. All right. Number one. And there are a few things that you should actually understand. There are managed services and the ones that you manage by yourself. For managed services, for example, like RDS, which is relational database in the service, RDS, it's a managed service, or even S3. So this one, you do not have to worry a lot about the server of the RDS, but you're supposed to worry about your data, right? The data that you put in the database, that you're hosting on the database. Protect that data, ensure that it is encrypted. AWS has encryption services, it has security services, and there are times that even when it comes to the best part about AWS, it has given us a lot, many services for security. There's even an entire security service that actually enables you to store your secrets. It's called Secrets Manager. You store your passwords there. If you need encrypt, all those things. So you should ensure that whatever resource that you're provisioning, the configuration, it's on you. Security of who is accessing your resources, it's on you. Your data is on you. And always ensure that you're updating your OSs and applications. So when it comes to say like configuration in the cloud, you people, you see that when it came to EC2, you are the ones who are configuring your own servers. AWS did not do that for you. So you're responsible for how you're going to configure. Even for VPC, even if there's that VPC that enables you to do a shortcut of creating your VPC, but if it comes to something like the CIDR block, you are the one deciding. The name, decide for yourself. Do you need a subnet? Do you need a private subnet? Decide for yourself. So the configuration is on you. How you're going to configure your resources is on you. The next thing is how to access those people who are authorized to access. And that's why we're going to learn this on Friday and on Monday, a resource called IAM, Identity and Access Management. With IAM, you are going to say, for my resources, I am going to create a user called Basil. I'm going to create a user called Rich, and I'm going to create a user called Sandra. All right. And user Basil is only responsible for EC2 servers and S3, nothing more, nothing less. When it comes to user Rich is only allowed to access VPC. He's the only one who can set up the network, and he's the only one who can set up security controls. If it comes to user Sandra is the only one who can access maybe services like Systems Manager or SysOps operations, the ones that now help you to do maybe regular backups and all that. So with the IAM, you can actually say, I am giving this, you're going to determine the users who can access your resources and what permissions they have. So if Basil can only access EC2 servers in S3, there is no way he will be able to access Systems Manager. All right, unless Sandra is there and gives Sandra does her work, Basil can now be able to maybe have automated backups on the EC2. So you as the user, you as the customer, you're responsible for ensuring the security, the people you're letting into your resources. All right. Then number three, you protect your data. So ensuring that your data is encrypted at rest and in transit. All right. You protect your data at rest. It means when data is just stored, and in transit, when you're moving your data, say you're moving your data from S3 to EC2, when you're transporting it, to the EC2, ensure that it is safe. Or you're getting data from EC2 to the S3, when you're transporting it, ensure that it is safe. When it gets to S3, it's at rest, ensure that it is encrypted. And then we have ensuring that you apply regular updates on your operating systems. If you set up your own EC2 server, remember that you are choosing Amazon Linux too. There are people who choose CentOS, there are people who choose uh, even Windows. So ensure that you're updating your operating system just the way you come to your for example, like if it is my Linux OS, I'll always be updating it, even if it's just once a week. So it's the same for you on the cloud, right? And here I have a small table just explaining what I've said. We said anytime, and this table will be very important for you guys when it comes to the exam, to know the shared responsibility model. And you should be even so sure about this, because even when you're certifying for hire, for example, like solutions architect associate, you need to be able to know about shared responsibility. You're going to find a few questions on there, even if you're certifying for a higher than CCP. So for physical security, AWS is concerned. For network and virtualization infrastructure, anytime that you see infrastructure, right, and anytime that you see anything physical, know that it is for AWS. All right, when it comes to security. And you, anytime that and you see, and even they might confuse you with operating systems. Your operating systems is the ones that you've provisioned, right? But AWS will be if for AWS it will be for operating system for the infrastructure. When it comes to you, you're responsible for the data, for your user access management, and for configuring your resources. That's the shared responsibility. If you have a question, can you just type it or unmute as we proceed? All right, so have you guys understood that? Have you guys understood the shared responsibility model? If you have, give me a thumbs up. All right, very nice. Very nice. Awesome. Awesome. So, guys, remember that we said security control. These are the things that you do to ensure that your system is secure. You remember? And we want to ensure that our systems are CIA compliant, they are confidential, there's integrity and availability of resources when they're needed. So, when it comes to security control, there are three main types of controls that we have. Number one, we have preventive, we have detective, and we have corrective, right? For preventive, here you're protecting a system before a threat occurs, before anything bad happens. You're protecting your system before. A good example is number one, you always have your password on your laptop. This ensures that no one can access your laptop. No one can access anything inside your laptop without having the password. All right, that's a preventive measure. And then you have detective. Detective is now to help you find vulnerabilities and even alert you when a breach has occurred. All right. So, for example, one of the things that you have is in detective, you see in your Gmail accounts, if you try login your Gmail with another computer or a new phone, Gmail is going to send you, Google is going to send you an email telling you that you have logged in into another device. Is it you? If it is not you, kindly change your password immediately. You see? So it's detecting that, number one, you accessing it in a different device than what you use. Number two, if it is not, you kindly do this instantly. Then you have corrective. So corrective is not that one like changing your password, all right? So this one is about fixing or mitigating the impact of the security breach. So corrective is, for example, you realize that someone logged into your email without your knowledge. What you can do is change your password immediately. And it is actually very important that you change your password at least a few oftenly. I change mine at least monthly. All right. So each control can be applied in three areas. So there is physical, administrative, and technical. So for example, in physical security, you can have a card reader that allows you to access a building. For example, like if you go to for example, for those who are in ALX and you're going to Nation Center, if you're going to Nation Center, for those people who are in the Nation Center building, they have their cards that they use to access the building, right? So that's an example of a physical device. Administrative is ensuring a corporate policy that requires all employees to swipe their own individual cards. And this is quite important because there was this organization that realized one person was entering into different locations in an instance. For example, it's like right now it's 10:16 here in Kenya. Um, when they're checking the system, they realize that Joy has swiped her card when entering the kitchen. And then 10:18, Joy has swiped her card when she's entering the HR's office. At 10:20, Joy has swiped her card when entering the finance office. But when looking at the CCTV, Joy is comfortably seated from 10:16 to 10:25. Joy is seated in her desk. So what happened? People were borrowing Joy's card to access all these other resources. So um, it did not ensure any security because you should use your own individual card to access so that they know this is the person who accessed this office, all right, or this resource. So administrative is having the policies that require you to do a certain thing. For example, an administrative policy that you have here in Landley is you join the meeting with your official names. Why? Because we're going to use your official name in marking the register and knowing that you are present in class. All right. So that's an administrative policy. And then we have the technical, a software that collects data from the card readers and monitors building access. So now for the technical, this is now where they actually realized that we saw on the CCTV, Joy is seated on her desk, but her card was swiped around 4 times in a span of 20 minutes, but she was seated. So technical, you're collecting this data and then you're going to use it to enhance your security. Then we have detective. So this is the metal detector that we were talking about. When you go to say a mall, a supermarket, airport, a building, you're told to pass through a metal detector to see if you're carrying a weapon or bomb, you know. Yeah, and then for administrative, control procedure requiring reports on the systems when systems change. So imagine that you're on this mall and the policy for the mall says that you ensure that when someone is passing, if they're going to have food with them, they cannot leave it on the luggage section. But what you do, ensure that you put a sticker with the stamp of the mall or the supermarket to show that this person came in with this drink and it is theirs. They did not buy there, and it's not being touched. They didn't leave it on the luggage. So even in case of an issue, say this person drank the juice and got food poisoning, they are not going to say it's the mall that poisoned that person, all right? And then we have antivirus for technical antivirus software that scans regularly. So an example, for example, for technical is having the CCTVs that you can check and see at different times this is going on, this person is shoplifting, such things. Then we have corrective. Corrective, for example, is having a backup generator that turns on automatically if there's a power outage. And for when it comes to administrative, having a BCP, a business continuity plan, you're going to learn this when we get to disaster recovery. You're going to learn about the BCPs, so don't worry about that. But the business continuity plan is a plan that tells you when there is in the event there is an attack, do this and this and this to ensure that we are proceeding on with our order of the business. This is what you should do. This is what you should do at this time. If has been done, do this. So that's our business continuity plan. For technical, an antivirus that removes malware when detected. All right. All right. So we have explained this. Yes, yes, yes. Let's just get someone who can read this for us. Can I get someone to read for us this shortly? Where we can use during the physical, administrative, and technical, and also read the best practices and the summary. Just unmute. I want you guys to get the engagement marks, but Basil already got his, Sandra got his, Sandra got hers, Abby got hers, Rich got his. So Mark already got his. So someone kindly read this for me. I'm going to scroll for you.
Hello.
Hi.
What can we use? Physical controls, tangible devices or equipment used to restrict access. For example, security cameras, locks, or biometric scanners. For administrative controls, we have policies, rules, and procedures that guide people's behavior. Example, security training, password policies, or access procedures. For technical controls, software or systems that automatically enforce security measures, for example, firewalls, encryption, intrusion detection systems, the best practices for implementing controls. So when setting up security controls, start with physical controls. That is, restrict who can physically access resources. 2, add administrative controls. That is, create clear policies and procedures. Apply technical controls, that is, use software or systems to enforce protection. Summary for the security controls, protect against threats and vulnerabilities. They are divided into preventive, detective, and corrective types. They operate through physical, administrative, and technical methods, and they represent stages of the security life cycle, that is from prevention to detection to correction. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. You should be reading more oftenly. Thank you so much. All right. All right. So let's go on to security life cycle. All right. And or do you guys need a break? We take a break, we come back at 11. Is that okay? And then we can finish up on security life cycle. I need some hot water. All right. So let's meet here at 11. When we come, we finish up on the life cycle and then we do all the cases. So we have a few cases needed to be done. Then we can break for lunch. So guys, let's meet at 11 a.m.